Yo, the crypto markets are heating up again, especially Ethereum right now is at the verge of exploding, in my opinion. And a lot of altcoins are going to follow up on that and catch up and probably snap 5x's, 10x's, maybe even more than that. So I think right now is the best time to really be exposed to strong fundamentals. And you don't really have to go to page 12 on CoinMarketCap and find the next hidden, illiquid, low-cap gem. You have to stick to very strong fundamentals with a product market fit that have an active community, a solid team, solid technology, and a unique value proposition, right? So if you follow my channel already for a while now, you know that my strongest picks right now are Cosmos and Hedera Hashgraph. And I've been covering Cosmos quite a lot in the past few days. So today I think it's time for an update on Hedera Hashgraph and HBAR because there has been so much going on recently. April has been a crazy month for Hedera. So I want to give you a brief update on that. And if you're excited about that and want to stay up to date with all things about Cosmos, Hedera, and other projects, then make sure you hit up the subscribe button, number one. Number two, like this video and share it with 1 or 2 friends. And number three, also make sure that you watch this entire thing. All right, first things first, let's look into the HBAR coin right now. The Bitcoin dominance right now, by the way, is at 46.4%. So it's probably at the verge of breaking down. And this will mean alt season, ape season, right? A lot of people are going to be incredibly emotional. But my point here is with this video also and with my entire channel is don't try to keep your emotions under control, right? There's so much noise left and right. And the next hidden gem here, the next hidden gem there, right? But if you stick to strong fundamentals, you are already going to do extremely well, right? So that's kind of my experience and my learning best practices from 4 years in the crypto industry. And Hedera Hashgraph is one of those giant projects that is already around for many, many years and has a huge ecosystem. They just added another incredible, large partner to the governance council. We're going to look into that and also what that means in a second. But first, let's look into the coin here. We're at 31.2 cents. And that's crazy, guys, already, because I discovered this coin and I bought a boatload of HBAR at 3 to 4 cents. So I'm already up kind of 10x. And it has a market cap of $2.6 billion US dollars with a trading volume of around 200 million. And 8.25 billion out of the 50 billion are circulating, right? But they have a very slow vesting schedule. You can look all that up on the website. You can also look up all the founders' addresses and see how much they're holding. They have been very open and transparent about their holdings and about their plans, right? And yeah, it's just a very slow dilution of the coins on the open market because they don't want to also damage the price and the project, right? If we look at the max chart here, we see this triple top formation, which basically means a trend reversal. So we have seen that, right? We have crashed down from 44, 45 cents in the peak to 24.7 cents in the lows. And now we're climbing back up again, right? So this is already, good signal that we're going back up again. And also I want to see volume increases here right now. So I guess we're at the verge right now of a massive explosion in May and June probably. And Hedera could be one of those outperformers during this next leg up. I think especially the 40, 45 cents levels are crucial and essential. We'll have to break through that substantially and then gain momentum. And we're going to snap up to $1 pretty soon, I guess. Of course, guys, no financial advice, blah, 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 blah. You already know that. But that's just my personal opinions here. I think Hedera can go way, way, way beyond $1 or $2 or $5. I don't know. But it's a huge, huge project. I see that project actually long-term in the top 20, maybe even top 10, right? That's kind of like where I see that. And if you look into the top 10, right, what do we have there? We have Dogecoin there. We have USDT, right, which is a scammy stablecoin, right, with XRP, right? And you can actually also draw some conclusions and comparisons between XRP and HBAR, Binance coin. But yeah, Bitcoin Cash is still in the top 10, right? Like Litecoin. There's so many coins that I think HBAR can definitely compete with and compare to, right? Because of the magnitude of the project and the impact it has, and also the uniqueness of the project, right? So that's just a basic intro here. All right, and I wanted to start here on Twitter because there's so many things that they're covering. I also recommend you to follow them here at Hedera, that they're covering on their Twitter, that they're announcing a lot of reports, a lot of progress. They have a lot of webinars and announcements there and public discussions, right? And they also include and actively involve the community, right? Because I think Hedera has this kind of public perception that it's very centralized, it's owned by, it's the Google hype and all these kinds of things. But in reality, it's actually very community centric, right? They're actually actively listening, right? Mance Harmon and Dr. Lehman Bird, the two founders of Swells, which is the main company behind Hedera, they're actually also answering questions from the community, right? They have regular AMAs, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff there that gives you a really good insight and overview of what Hedera is, how it works under the hood, what the governance council means, and how everything plugs in, right? So I just wanted to scroll here through really quick because there's so many cool things, guys. For example, this blockchain sustainability report, right? So they just had the Earth Week where they were inviting a lot of speakers and partners also in their network that want to build green solutions that decrease the carbon footprint, right? And Hedera is perfectly suited for that, right? Because it's built on the Hashgraph algorithm, the Hashgraph consensus algorithm, right? Which is a directed acyclic graph technology that basically enables incredibly high throughput without having to consume large energy consumption, right? So that's really, really innovative here and the bottom line of what Hedera is about. And now you see all these things coming together, right? From the carbon footprint perspective, and now also from the NFT perspective, right? There's also projects launching in that field. Here also this article here about NFTs. Then they also launched released this article about the state of decentralization, right? It's a public report that they made between December, I think, and January. They were asking around 1,000 entrepreneurs and enterprises and people from the public sector as well. And the bottom line is basically that 38% are planning to use public infrastructure, right? And another 47% are planning to use a hybrid between public and private infrastructure, right? And if you watch my previous videos on Hedera, you know, for example, that Hedera has also ties to central bank digital currencies, right? To the Fed especially, right? To the Indian Reserve Bank. So they have a lot of ties to companies, also institutions from the public sector that are also actively consulting Hedera for tech support, integrations, right? And maybe even launch something big on the Hedera token service. So that's really, really cool. And guys, my point here is that Hedera is one of these projects. They're not just listening to the community, but they're also listening to the open market, right? They're also listening to what do entrepreneurs want? What are enterprises struggling with? Or even public governmental institutions, right? Like there's a lot of angles that you have to consider crypto from and blockchain, right? Because I think on crypto Twitter, we're all kind of like in this little bubble, right? Where we believe like, oh, if it's not on this or that blockchain, it's a scam, right? But guys, there's so much that is beyond crypto Twitter, right? Outside of the crypto Twitter world. And Hedera is really trying to merge that, right? Trying to merge and accommodate the crypto people, but also large enterprises and maybe even central banks, right? And I believe still that central bank digital currencies is one of the major narratives that is still going to have a large impact also for public ledgers, right? And seeing that they're also listening to those guys is actually it's actually pretty cool. Hedera will also participate at Consensus this year, which is on May 24th to 27th, right? The largest crypto conference in the world. This year, of course, it's digital, but they'll be speaking there as well. So make sure that you also follow up on that. They've also been on the Cryptos R Us YouTube channel with Mance Harmon, the co-founder of Swells or Hedera. And he gave a lot of insights, how everything works, and the governance council and all these kind of things. So that's really cool. There's a lot of stuff going on that front. One thing that I also wanted to point out here is that they just announced, actually, this is very brand new from April 29, they announced the Hedera user group, right? And the Hedera user group is basically an initiative that comes from the governance council and is also funded from the governance council, and is basically there to empower the community, right? To basically establish a community governing council, so to speak, as of my understanding at least, that gives them kind of like some impact. And maybe over the time, I think that's also the core goal of Hedera, is to transition from those currently 17 governance council members to basically every single individual around the world, right? So full decentralization in the decision making, in the future of the project. And it's just great to see that companies like DLA Piper, which is one of the largest law firms around the world, are actually funding this, are supporting this, right? And are on the forefront of that. So check out their YouTube channel. There's a lot of content they're pushing out there as well. Now let's look into some on-chain statistics and real-time data, right? I recommend Dragon Glass here, which is their kind of like main explorer and analytics tool on the Hedera network. One major milestone which they have achieved in April is that they crossed 1 billion transactions on the Hedera net, right, on the Hedera mainnet. And sure, a lot of them are probably just test transactions, right, to stress test the platform, to prove that it works, but it does work, right? And it's actually great to see. And Hedera is also one of those platforms that actually has real-world adoption. They have a lot of use cases that you can find on the website. I'm not going to go into that today, but there's also a lot of it actually being used, right? There's a total of 208,318 accounts on the Hedera network, which is pretty cool. And you can see here now all the tokens that are on Hedera, statistics on the price and the liquidity on the price on certain exchanges, right? Also, they have this very cool map here where you can see where the nodes are, right, located. And if you listen to Lehman Baird and Mance Harmon explain their approach, like how do they choose governance council members, they also make sure that from an industrial separation, like to have it in separate industries, but also geographically, right, that they are distributed. And you can see that pretty cool here. All the nodes are pretty much distributed on a global scale. Currently, they have 17 nodes that all have different kind of like incentives, different kind of interests, right? So there's no real conflict of interest, right? Because what you see on most other public chains, for example, Binance Smart Chain, right? They have 21 nodes, but most of them are actually from Binance itself, right? Or kind of like closely tied to Binance. And here you really have a distributed network of individual companies, right? That are huge in itself, and they have different incentives, different motives, right? They have different expertise they bring on the table, right? You have companies from the tech sector, you have companies from the law sector and from regulation, from the financial sector, right? Like different companies from different geographics. And I think that approach is incredibly interesting. And as we are filling up those slots, I think 39 is, I think, the goal here, right? So currently we have 17 and we'll go to 39. I think when these slots are filled, and there's lots of rumors about PayPal and about other companies, right, that you know, then I guess it's time to also invite a community, right, to run nodes and enable community, involvement and engagement in the consensus, and also through staking, right? I think one of the lead developers of Hedera, he said recently that staking is coming very, very soon on Hedera, right? So there's cool things here. And sure, it's a slow transition from a centralized conglomerate consortium blockchain projects, or not blockchain projects, but DLT project, to a decentralized open system that invites everyone to not just be an active user, but also be active part of it, right? And potentially also opens up ways to earn passive income, right? So that's really cool to see. And I think this map here really shows how decentralized Hedera truly is. And another thing that you can do here is, if you go here on tokens, you can see how many tokens are currently launched on the Hedera token service, through the Hedera token service. And there's currently a total of 304, right? Which is not bad. That's already a good start. You can see all the details about the projects and the tokens. Of course, a lot of them are test tokens and projects, right? But I foresee a lot of innovation and progress on that front as well, right? When we talk about NFTs, when we talk about DeFi, right? All these cool things are going to come on Hedera. Now let's look into the best part of Hedera, in my opinion, and that is obviously the Hedera Governing Council, because it includes and involves a lot of large institutions and companies, right? Boeing, for example, Deutsche Telekom, DLA Piper, I already mentioned them, FPOS from Australia, Google, IBM, right? Wipro, Tata Communications in India, right? And through Tata, they also actually have connections to the Indian Reserve Bank. Then you have Swells, which is the company that Lehman and Mans Harman founded, right? Which is the main tech arm behind Hedera, right? The company that also invented the Hashgraph consensus algorithm. Standard Bank, and then LG, Korean company, and Shinhan Bank, which is the latest addition to the governance council, right? And what is so cool about it? Well, actually, the Shinhan Bank has close ties in the development of the central bank digital currency for Korea, right? So there are already announced public pilots for CBDC in Korea together with the Bank of Korea, and also LG is somehow involved in that, right? So there's already some cool ties here between the Shinhan Bank, LG, and now Hedera Hashgraph. And that's obviously a great narrative that you want to have, right? CBDCs in one of the largest and most advanced economies in our world. And that's just great, right? Like, I love to invest in projects that have such ties and connections, because that's something that, you know, could gain real world adoption, right? So that's really cool. And yeah, with that, I actually want to also wrap it up for today. Last thing I wanted to mention is make sure you go over to Credible Crypto's YouTube channel and follow him, subscribe to his channel there, and watch his videos, right? He made cool videos now. This is the third part of his HBAR series, where he just talks about HBAR from a fundamental perspective, but also from a technical angle, right? And like I also said in the intro, I believe HBAR is at the verge of exploding. It's actually my largest holding right now by far, because it just went up so much for me, and it's just, I haven't sold, right? Because I think this thing belongs to the top 10. So Credible Crypto has a very similar opinion on that. And yeah, make sure you head over to his channel and show some support there and some love. That said, I hope you enjoyed today's short, quick episode and update on Hedera. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay healthy and be good.